Banished guide. This video is my guide to how to play the video game Banished. I wrote the guide. It is on my forum cheapbooks.cc in the Banished section. So we're going to look at this first, and we're going to talk about all these numbers. So number one is storage warehouses. In terms of food production, you're going to have to store that food in your warehouse. So you want your warehouses to be close to your food. And normally, if you use the farm as a unit, you'll notice that I have a warehouse adjacent to this pasture and to this farm. Got a warehouse for this one, warehouse for these two, warehouse for this one. I make it so that every plantation or farm has at least one warehouse adjacent to it. Same with the orchard over here and the warehouses over here. They don't have to go far. Number two, you see we've got these two crops, which I think might be squash. You want to build them far apart. You want to have different buildings or crops in between, because if this gets infestation, you don't want it to transfer to the other crops. If all these crops are the same and this gets infested, the other field will get infested and the other field will get infested. So you want that distance. Okay, see number three over here? There is a forester somewhere in this area. It might be off screen. It looks like it's this building right over here. If you can see the cursor, it is on the right, the northernmost building. What they do is they're going to build trees. They're going to plant trees along the river. You can't build in some of these spots. So the forester is going to put trees there. For example, north of the bridge, there's an area where I cannot build anything. And that is where the forester is going to put some trees. He's going to collect a decent amount of wood, and the hunters and gatherers will get a decent amount of materials from the trees, even though it's a small forest. And you do the same thing near the hills. Number four, build houses near workplaces. We're going to get more on this later. You see all these houses over here for number four? They have to work at all these different properties. And they're going to work, and then when they're hungry, they got to go back to the house. When they need firewood, they got to go to the marketplace to get the firewood. There's no marketplace here. You need to have like a little storage unit somewhere. But they have to go get those resources, and they have to literally carry it to their house. So you want the house to have access to a marketplace which contains all those resources, and you want houses to be near places of employment. Factories such as clothing should be built near resources, near warehouses. So you see we've got over here number five. We've got, I believe that's a clothing factory. You want to build that near the resources, which would be the sheep, so that it doesn't have to transport the wool very far. All this wool is going to go into this warehouse above number six. And then everything is going to go a short distance. It's going to manufacture those goods quickly. Small spaces can be used for trees, storage, or small structures from mods. So number six, I have a small space over here. Maybe I couldn't build a house, so I just put a little storage area to store materials, because it looks like there used to be a coal mine here, but the coal mine is gone. So that's where he was putting those materials. If a home does not have heat, you can quickly acquire firewood by chopping down nearby trees. If you don't have heating fuel, they won't make it through the winter. So what you do if you run out of fuel is you go wherever there's trees, like there's trees over here on the left, and up here above number 7, and you go to the option in the menu and you just cut all the trees down. And don't worry about it, they'll grow back. Sometimes I'm surprised at how many times I cut down the same forest. Foresters can plant trees in small gaps, such as the base of hills. You don't have to have a large forest. They can also chop trees in the orchard. By the way, if you switch the food in the orchard, you see this one over here has some trees that are missing and some that are small. It will have two different food types until all the trees are chopped down and replanted. Okay, the marketplace is the center of any new village that expands outside of your town. It contains all the resources that they need. So make sure that as you expand out, you have a marketplace and then you surround it with the houses and the production. Fish can be caught year round, number 2 over here, which means they can work in the wintertime. They can work fishing in the winter and then in the summer go and plant the crops and then go back to fishing. Forester plants trees, so you want the lumberjack, the gatherer, the hunter, the storage pile, and the herbalist guy. A cattle ranch can provide food year round. The plantations can produce food year round, such as chickens with eggs or whatever. And if you have mods, you can produce milk and dairy, cream, etc., cheese. So it takes a while to get your plantation growing, but once you get it growing, in an emergency, you've got a supply of food. Build a tunnel through the mountains. In the wintertime, it makes a difference because you see there's a tunnel over here, number 5. In the wintertime, it makes a difference because they don't have to go around. They'll get to where they got to go a lot faster. Stone houses are more expensive to build, but they require less fuel. So try to build stone houses as much as possible. Always have new home construction if you're trying to expand your town. If you wait too long, you need to expand your town because if you wait too long, you will get elderly people living in all the homes and then new families cannot move in. So always have a couple houses. You see, I got number 7, I got some houses being built. Always have some ready to be built so that you can expand. Workers will be busy on farms during the summer. During the winter, they can fish, rest, collect resources, or perform other jobs. You can build many trading posts, which is down here, number 1. I built 3 next to each other. You do want to spread them out, which I will explain later, because they bring in a ton of resources. It's better to have them drop them off around your map than have them all dropped off in one spot because otherwise it will take too long to transport everything. You can store animals inside pens at trading posts. Number 2 is an animal pen, which holds 2, 3, or 4 animals. Build warehouses near trading posts. Number 3. A marketplace allows you to move goods quickly and improves trading post efficiency. That's number 4. You need to move stuff back and forth in and out of the trading posts. The marketplace is picking up all the goods that are being produced. So if the trading post needs it, they can go to the marketplace. It's always trying to keep a certain number of goods in the marketplace. So they'll always be able to go there. If your warehouse runs out, no one's going to automatically replenish it. But if your marketplace runs out of goods, you can assign workers who go and pick up goods from warehouses and other marketplaces and keep on filling up the marketplace. Farms, forests, and houses should not be built near trading posts. You want to build warehouses, storage, markets, and factories. Build storage piles in the excess space near the trading posts. You see over here, I got this small space, number 6. That's where I built the storage piles. You'll be able to import raw materials, process them in a factory, and sell them quickly if everything is nearby. So if I want, I can bring in wood and have the lumberjack produce firewood. I got rid of all these farms and I replaced them with breweries, which you saw in a different image. Okay, build houses, schools, cathedrals, cemeteries, hospitals, and similar buildings near each other. They do not manufacture anything. They don't need access to warehouse or storage. Build them along the uneven terrain so the flat land can be used for farms. So build these all nearby, surround them by houses, not by storage or factories. Build stone roads, which is number 1, on a frequently used path. Use the wide open flat areas for farming, orchards, and ranches, plantations. Build warehouses near farms, it's number 3, so they can harvest everything faster. Plant trees along the uneven coastal areas, which is number 4 over here. And you see I also have them planted near the hills. This is the forest down here in the bottom left corner. Orchards need less maintenance because you don't have to replant every season and they don't need as much labor. There's a tool over here, the path tool. You can click on a building or a home or plantation and see where people live and where they work. So in this case, they live at number 2, it's a home, and you've got some people working at number 3 and some people working at number 3 over here. This is a case where I clicked on the orchard and you can see where the homes are, where the people work. The 3s are the homes, number 2 is the orchard. Number 1 is where the path tool is. So you don't want them to be too far away. This is reasonable. And they will move. So if there's a house built over here, it's possible this person will move into that house in order to be closer to the job, or this person might get a job in another place. This is an example where the home is over here on the left and the workplace is on the right. The person has to travel a long distance to get to work. This is tools. When your tools go down to 0, you risk mass starvation because they will not be able to grow as much food to supply all the citizens. So you got to monitor tools more than anything, which includes everything you need to make tools: wood, coal, iron, etc. So what I'm showing here, tools went down to 0, and then a short time later, my population dropped considerably by 150 people, except for the students. This is showing the tavern. I think it's the best way to produce stuff that you want to sell because it's highly profitable. And you don't want to do wheat or berries. You want to do things like apple, cherry, peach, pear, and plum. It's the highest profit margin for trading, and it's not essential like clothing and tools. The apiary is the best for food production. It's a mod, has only one person working, produces a lot of food. If you have production problems, like these guys don't have tools, they're not producing as much firewood, even though there's a ton of firewood right here, or logs. So they're going to have a problem with heating. So you need to make sure you have production, otherwise you will have a population decrease. Make sure your professions are properly filled. If you are short, you might have no production. You see if there's something here with no production. You see the blacksmith is missing someone, which means that there's a building that's not producing anything. Click on a house to view inhabitants or inventory. This is moderate. You want to have it filled more, but based on this, I can tell that production is not that great. It's a little bit on the low side. You really want to have more goods in here for all of your houses, which means that you have a good supply of food. They'll be healthier if you have a good supply of food. Okay, that's it for the Banished guide. Check out the forum at cheapbooks.cc because chances are I have upgraded the guide and added more entries. It could be many more pages worth, depending on how long ago you viewed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.